Hey, hi, good afternoon. So I'm not really sure. We're having some technical difficulties, so I'm not sure if we are streaming live right now. Let's wait to find out. Now let's see. Okay. I do see myself. Hello, world. Do we have more people with us? If you can hear my voice, please type something in the chat. I am just waiting for confirmation. I'm really just gonna wait till okay. I see the numbers going up, so we have 5 people watching now. That's good. Are we good? I think okay. My team is telling me it's okay. I think there's a yeah, I think there's an issue with the link that we've been using. So it may be because of that. But I see a few people joining in. So I'll just wait a few more minutes. All right. So we do claim to be a tech company. So this is not supposed to be as difficult as it's turning out to be. We had some technical issues because the link we had sent out wasn't working, or rather, we changed the link that we had initially sent out. So there's just a little bit of confusion on that. So we are just sorting it out. So just hang tight, and we'll just wait for a few more people to join with us before we start. Okay. Everything seems to be working. And that's something I don't say often, at least to my engineering team. All right, Tara, just tell me when we can start and we will go, or someone from our team. You can tell me on Slack or on Zoom. Anyone here with us, type something in the chat. Just say hello. It's quite lonely out here. Okay, so it seems like we went live a few times, and that's why we have new streaming links every time we go live. So the live link is a little different from before. Hey, hi. Hi, Lichu, how are you? Hey, Indri. Okay, finally, we have people with us. Okay, great, great. I see the numbers rising. That's great. Hello and welcome. Hello to the Rolljak webinar. We had some technical issues with the link because the link we had shared, we changed it, and somewhere along the way, um, the link changed. So that if anyone had any trouble coming in, so I apologize for that. But of course, the people who are having trouble coming in are not in yet. So I guess they will watch this when when they will watch it when they finally come in. Okay, so I think we are resending the latest link out to people because of the mix-up. So I guess these are rookie mistakes you make when you don't run a lot of webinars. Okay, great. I'm just happy that I finally see the numbers trickling up. So that's great. All right, I'm going to wait about 2 more minutes before we start because we still want to end on time. All right. Okay, okay. So now we have a few more people. That's good. I'm just stalling a few more minutes. So just bear with me. Okay, I think the stream is working fine, and it's just a matter of sending the new link out. So I'm just gonna get started. Okay. So hopefully everything from here on out will be fine. So let's hope the live stream gods are on our side today, right? All right. All right, we have a very special guest with us, but he will be joining us like in front of the camera in just a few minutes. So great. I think we are pretty much set and we are ready to go. And I am excited to start. Okay, so let's go. I've been building this up for a while. Okay, so now we can finally get started. All right, hello and welcome to our first ever Rolljak webinar. I'm really happy that you could join us. And once again, I'm sorry about the technical issues. Um, we decided to be adventurous and restart our streaming, which changed the link, which caused a lot of confusion even in our internal discussion and communication. So cool. I'm glad we got that all sorted out, and I'm sure that our team is taking care of it. So if you're late to join us, um, I'm sorry, it's our fault. So hello and welcome. My name is Aditya. I am the co-founder and CEO of Kodomo, the company that builds Rolljak. And we are an education technology company based here in Singapore. And really, we are very passionate about bringing future-ready skills to the forefront in learning and engagement. And today is being our first ever webinar, and we hope to make this a habit. And the more we do this, the lesser problems we'll have in the future. So today we really want to talk about something that is very close to our heart and our mission, which is about gamification. So gamification is really a word that gets used so very often, and today we're really just going to talk about what it really takes to do gamification right, and what it means to do gamification in the right way for the future and the future of learning, right? So it's about making lessons even in remote or in person, right? So whether or not you're teaching hybrid, in person or remote, how do you make your class more impactful and more engaging using gamification? And we're actually going to unpack some things about what gamification really means and what it means to do it well. And then I'm going to throw it over to our very special guest all the way from the Philippines, Sir Alwyn, who's going to talk to us about his experiences with gamification using Rolljak. And if time permits, because I know we are running late, so if time permits, we will also run a quick demo, right, to show you how gamification would look like on Rolljak and what's our flavor of gamification. So let's set the stage here a little bit. So I want to talk to you about the evolution of education and how it has evolved, over the last at least 30 years, where in the 20th century, it was always about literacy and picking up becoming literate, right? Learning literacy skills. And as we move deeper into the 21st century, and as education gets or has gotten democratized through the proliferation of internet and with information, really just being at the tips of your fingers at any time, what really is, the purpose that education serves in this day and age, right? So again, so from literacy to ICT literacy, and now with MOOCs and YouTube and Google and just so much plethora of information at our fingertips, how that ties in to what evolution really means. All right. So some numbers for you, not meant to scare you, but just a reality check of where we are with in the grand scheme of things. So these are studies done by reputable institutions. So the one on the left of the screen is talking about how 65% of students who are in primary school today are going to end up working jobs that don't even exist by the time they get into the workforce. So, and that's actually a crazy notion, because if you think about it, like 5 years ago or 7 years ago, no one really was talking about cryptocurrency, although it was a thing already. There was no such thing as NFTs, although the technology did exist. These things were not as hot as they are now. So Web3, decentralized technology, cryptocurrency, NFTs, you name it, like all these things just suddenly popped out and like just took the world by storm. So how do you actually, prepare for a future that neither you or I can predict? And, being a software engineer myself, I wouldn't say that I know enough about Web3 technology, right? So it's really changing the way that, even engineering is done, even software is built. So there's a lot of things that we couldn't have predicted about these things, right? So even for someone like myself who works in tech, we need to be ready for such changes and ready to move with them and ready to upskill ourselves. On the right is a study done by, so there's a number of sources who've done the study, right? And this is done by Bank of America, Bank of England, and also by CNN. So depends on which study I cite, it's anywhere between 40 to 60%, right? So anywhere between 40 to 60% of the global workforce is going to get obsolete in the next 10 years, less than that, right? So what that means is more than half of us are going to be irrelevant, right? Sadly, due to the proliferation of automation, AI, machine learning, things like that. So basically, the long and short of it is that we live in a time of great change, right? And we are all at the risk of being irrelevant, firstly, if we are in the workforce, and for the people of the future who we are preparing for the workforce, we don't really know what we're preparing them for. So how do you navigate such difficult terrain? And that's really what the purpose of education in the 21st century has become, or is right now. And that really is about adapting to and steering changes, right? Because changes are inevitable and we live in a time of more accelerating change. So we basically need to train the next generation to adapt to and steer the changes in and move in that and move in those direction move in the direction that is moving. And it's not just about moving in that direction, it's really about leading and steering those changes, right? So it's not about learning what to learn anymore, because all of that you can find online, right? It's really about learning how to learn. And that's the mindset that we need to inculcate in people. And that's a growth mindset. So now, how we do that is called the 4 C's of 21st century learning. So how do you really prepare students for change? And that's the 4 C's of 21st century learning, which is, these 4 words are thrown around pretty, often. It's about creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, communication. But how do you then um, embody these in any training or any classroom? Through gamification, right? So coming back to the point of gamification, now, how do you actually introduce these future-ready competencies, or introduce, um, how does gamification help us prepare for the future and help us remain relevant? So gamification is not a tool, is a tool, not a solution, right? So gamification firstly works, and we know it, like we know that gamification works. And this has been studied over and over in many different settings, not just like in classroom settings, but also um, getting people to present behavioral changes. So behavioral changes are always led by gamification. And hello, Joseph, my good friend. Much love from the Rolljak Filipinas community, and much love from me to you as well. Um, just an Easter egg that I will be actually in Manila next week. So hopefully, we will be up to more mischief, like the Rolljak Filipinas community and myself. So looking forward to that. So anyways, gamification as a tool, not a solution. Um, so gamification works, but how do you actually introduce that in a way and exploit its benefits to your advantage, right? Because even though gamification works, there is always a risk that students may meet performance goals without actually understanding the subject matter, right? So and that's usually what um, holds people back from actually giving gamification a go, or rather the critics will say that gamification makes things fun but doesn't really have the learning outcomes that traditional pedagogy has. And that's what we are here to talk about. So what really makes gamification good, and what are the components that contribute to learning with games, right? So if we break that down, and that'll be broken down into three main things, right? And that is going to be solid instructional material, meaning instructional material that is comprehensive and really ties in with your lesson and learning outcomes, right? The second would be tapping into the narrative quality of gamification, so that it becomes not just about having fun, but really about building a long-term engagement with students. And thirdly, it would be about practicing the 4 C skills, which is what I just covered earlier, which is creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. So it's essentially all these three things, which is about providing access to instructional material that can be used for incorporating gamification in training, right? Second, about helping teachers create narrative quality narratives for their lessons through just more engaging activities that drive a narrative. And finally, practicing the 4 C's of 21st century learning, and how, like, all these three, so the three-pronged approach, if I may say so, of what we are trying to do with improving gamification for future ready learning. And that's precisely what we are trying to achieve with Rolljak as well. So with Rolljak, we're trying to provide a platform for future ready learning that could be scalable, where you can reach as many people as possible by still maintaining that same experience for participants that you would in a smaller setting, right? Because unlocking the 4 C's of 21st century learning, which is things like collaboration and critical thinking, those things are usually very difficult to crack at scale, right? It's easier done in groups of 5 and 10s, but not really in 50s and hundreds, right? And that's essentially what we're trying to do with Rolljak, where we're trying to introduce those skills like collaboration, peer-to-peer learning, equal participation from everyone, and with the creative spark, right? All of these in a scalable way that will still allow you a lot of diverse activities that you could run open-ended, closed-ended discussions and things like that. So um, what I really want to drive home is that gamification should really care about having equal participation from every student, especially if you're trying to introduce collaborative learning. Because of course, gamification, one of the key things that it tries to do is, lessen engagement. And with collaborative learning, definitely it drives engagement, but it doesn't drive equal participation. Because in this day and age, it's not really just about getting the answers right, right? It's about having people involved in the discussion. And how could you use gamification to actually introduce these kind of learning modalities in a way that is scalable? And that's pretty much what we are trying to do with Rolljak, where we are trying um, to introduce many different types of learning activities and learning modalities in one platform, and also trying to push that with team-based learning. So at this point, actually, I do love, so that concludes my introduction, and I would love to actually have um, one of our one of my very good friends and one of our earliest users of the product and the platform to actually talk to you more about that. So we have a very special guest with us for this webinar, and his name is Alwyn. But really, we just called him in because we thought that he would be a great person to talk to you about this. Really, because a lot of what our users tell us about Rolljak is about its engagement and its gamification done right. So really want to throw it over to Sir Alwyn, who will very kindly talk to us about that. And honestly, it means so much more when a real educator who is a real user, one of our earliest supporters of the platform, and like it just is so encouraging for the entire team to know that you're doing something right at least. So, um, Sir Alwyn, how are you?
Hello, Sir Adi. I am good.
Yeah.
Mabuhay from the Philippines.
Well, hi. Yes, and I look forward to meeting with you in person. Well, hopefully we'll make that happen. So I want to stop my screen share and I just want to chat with you for a quick minute. Yeah. So how's everything with you?
So far things are good. Nothing special actually that happened lately.
Yeah, so we actually launched the Rolljak Filipinas community. Was it last month or the month before that? So we actually had that a really successful event, and Alvin was very nice to help with putting all those things together. So we are getting more mabuhais from the chat. So hello to everyone. Hello to everyone from the Philippines as well. All right. So Alvin, I just, you know, I want you to just, take over and just talk to us about, whatever I've been talking about and how you think Rolljak ties into that. And even if it's not, about your experience with Rolljak, but just about gamification in general. What are your thoughts on gamification, Alvin?
For me, my thoughts on gamification is really actually making learning more fun. Because I have been studying or taking note of the importance of gamification in learning as well. Especially when I took some lesson units in the grad school, wherein one of the key concept that I got from there is that adding the element of fun is that taking the idea from game, and then from that idea of game wherein all of us have experienced playing around when we were young, uh, running around the park and all those things. And then when we can turn that experience and share that experience within the lesson, then that is the manifestation that we are successful in gamifying our lessons.
Yeah, no, I mean, you put it really well because yeah, I think everyone has those fond memories of play and is really
Yes.
introducing learning through play. And the better you do that, the better it becomes, right? So
Yeah.
um very quickly, what were like some of the main challenges, that you faced before using Rolljak?
One of the main challenges that I encountered before using Rolljak is more on being sure that my students are engaged in the activities that we are doing in class. Just to give a context to that answer, the past 2 years we've been on full online. So there are instances that I am not sure if my students are actually on tasks, especially on whenever I ask them to solve different activities in math. And um, as, are they really, aside from making them on task, is that am I sure that my students are not really bored with the way I discuss things?
Hmm.
Because I have accepted the fact that math is one of the most boring subjects for some
Yeah.
students. And really, I needed something, or I needed to add the element of fun in my lessons and in my discussions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think math is that boring, but but you're so right. When you're teaching online, especially online, right? There's so little feedback for you as a teacher, right? And you have absolutely no clue because you're talking to a wall of names, right? Um, without any faces or any voices. So it's very one way traffic, and it's difficult to know how well you're doing. So I mean, that's a very interesting point. But if I may push you further in that, like, so now that like you are coming back, you know face to face, how do you think how do you think gamification works in face to face lessons, and what are some of those challenges that you've had even prior to Rolljak, or even now, right?
Still, for me, one of the main challenges that we still have is student engagement, even if
Yeah,
it is already face to face, or in our setup, it is already high flex. Because still there are some students that even sometimes I think even if I dance already in class, sometimes they feel sleepy or whatnot. But whenever I have the opportunity to use technology in my class,
yeah,
just like Project,
yeah,
I get the attention of the students more. And then there are also instances that the use of technology and the use of these different applications that we can use for school, students really enjoy them. There's really this certain element of fun that they really look forward to, and it is really addressed. This my concern on student engagement is actually addressed with the use of educational technology.
yeah. No, that's a very important fact. And that's what we also resonate so deeply with as a team, because like if you've noticed, even on Rolljak, we are able to track engagement, not just like accuracy, because to me personally, engagement is so important in lessons, more because the more you drive engagement, and the best way to do that is gamification, right? And the more you drive engagement, the better the learning outcomes will be, right? Regardless of what you're teaching, right? So it's quite agnostic to your subject, right? So yeah, how did Rolljak become the solution for your class?
Rolljak became the solution for my class when, especially when I wanted to see my students to show their solutions. So one of the things that I use is the sketch it out feature of Rolljak. And then because of the sketch it out feature of Rolljak, I was able to work on it, or I can see the work of my students already right after giving them a problem, for example, to solve. And then I can already see their answers immediately. I am so I believe that Rolljak has helped me a lot in getting my students engaged. And then
Awesome.
similarly, whenever I see them enjoying the other features while waiting
Awesome.
for others to answer those questions or finish answering their questions, they are
Yeah.
slicing some sushis.
Yeah. Sushi slashing. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't let me hold you back anymore. I know we are jumping ahead of because I know you have all this in a presentation for us. So please take it away, Alvin.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir Addy. So allow me to set my presentation. So once again, good afternoon, everyone. I am Alvin Reclusado, and I am a teacher here in the Philippines. I hope that we can see my screen on the screen.
Yeah, we do
Okay,
see it.
okay, thank you very much. So I've been using Rolljak for almost a year now. I started exploring Rolljak around October and tried to implement my journey, tried to implement the use of Rolljak in my classroom around November last year. Then I've been getting feedback from my students about the different things that they can think of about Rolljak and gamifying my classes and the use of educational technology in general, since I also love employing educational technology in the classroom. And this school year, we started June 2022, June this year, 2022, with the first trimester. However, I just started using Rolljak again in my class around August. Then by September, we had our term evaluation with our students for us to get the different things or their calls on the different things that we do in class. So I'd like to share to you some data that I have gathered from my students. So the activities and apps that which are helpful to me are, and if you can see here, we can see here Rolljak at 80.6% in one section, in another section 62.1%, and in another section 60.6%. And around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 apps that we use in class, Rolljak comes on third to fifth. So as which was newly introduced, and I am pretty sure that Rolljak was never used in the classes of my students in the previous. So it is their first encounter with Rolljak. And similarly, some of the feedback that I've seen is that they wanted me to use Rolljak more in class. And they find the technology that is being used in class to be very fun and very easy to use. And I started using Rolljak in 3 of my sections. Now, it is being used by the 2 other grade 7 teachers of my grade level. Again, one of the reasons why I use Rolljak and enjoyed using Rolljak in class is to address the main problem that I have, which is the student engagement. So just like what I have mentioned a while ago, I've been in online setup for 2 years with my students. And then this year, we migrated to um, HiFlex.
Hyflex.
And some of the students are really not engaged as much as I would want them to do, especially whenever they are online. Because one thing is for sure, and thing that I have observed as well, is that when a student is on site or in class, he is very active. And whenever he is online, there are some students who are, I think they are asleep or doing something else, or because they can do other things,
Yeah.
they can have 2 or 3 gadgets at the same time. That's why we've been having problems with engagement. I am pretty sure that some of other teachers can uh, also have the same experience, just like what I did. So with the use of Rolljak in the classroom, there are 2 things. When we start, number one, student creativity is already there. So the students can sketch whether they would want to make a meme to represent themselves, they want to draw or whatnot. And then while waiting, the students can also use or can also play. And this is one of the best selling features of Rolljak for me, most especially to my students. So I have some students who are telling each other how many sushis they have sliced already. So they're saying, oh, I have 300, 400, then there and then. But also what I do with this is that I tell my students that, okay, I know you are enjoying slicing sushis, but one thing that you have to consider, we need to answer our questions. We need to answer our questions, or else what we're going to do is that I will be removing slicing sushis. So I'm telling them that, and they will say, okay, okay, sure, we will focus on our discussion and enjoy slicing sushis once we are done, something like that. So it is also part of the classroom management of the teacher on how they can work on these different things. Then, um, using Paul for my students, because to be honest, Rolljak has a lot of free features. We can have all of this. We can see all of this with in different apps as well. But these features are not free with other apps that we can use at the moment. And with the use of Pulse, sometimes just for me on checking the pulse of my class, on when I want to say or ask them how are they feeling before starting the class, and I get this. And just a manifestation that I am getting a better class engagement with my students is that check on didn't answer 0/33. So it means that my students or all of my students responded to this question. And it means that I have the attention of the students as well. And I also like this feature of Rolljak because it is very easy for me to monitor the progress of my students on who responded or how many responded already or how many didn't responded just yet. The next, one thing that I like also, or the thing that I use in my class is that in this feature wherein we can upload media in Rolljak. So I uploaded a 1 minute video, and then a follow-up question will come in next. So what I did is that I paused the question first so that my students will be watching the video together. Then after watching the video together, then I gave them the time to answer the question. So if you can see in the iPad of my student that it was paused. So what he needs to do is to look at the screen. And he cannot do anything with his iPad just yet. So all he has to do is really watch the presentation or the video presentation that is being projected on the screen. And this is also true to my online student. So because in our school at the moment, we are on concurrent setup. So I am teaching on site while I am teaching the students who are in Zoom as well. So I can have a better classroom management with all the different features that I can get and enjoy from Rolljak. So after that, I get the answers from my students on, for example, in this question, what is multiplicative inverse? So after the students have watched this, then I can see who was able to answer already, and I can see who was not able to finish answering the question. So from this, before proceeding to the next question, what I can do is perhaps I can ask this student who wasn't able to complete if he had a problem with the video, or I can also add more questions or layer the questions so that I can support his learning further. And down to the best feature for me from Rolljak, which I have mentioned a while ago, which was able to help me really in my lessons in math, is on the Sketch It Out. And Sketch It Out is a free feature from Rolljak. So thank you very much, Rolljak, for making my life as a math teacher a lot easier. And this was able to really help me have a better interaction with my students as well. Because in the previous, even pre-pandemic, when all of my students can write on their notebooks, it is also not easy for me to go on their tables or on their wherever they are one by one, for me to take a look at their answers to the problems that I would want them to answer. But because of Rolljak, I have this on my screen. So in one example, translate the mathematical sentence into an equation. The sum of tries of D and 12 makes 29. So I can see already here that my students, these are the answers of my students. So after a few minutes. So what I can do is I can just ask one of my students to explain his answer. And I can also scroll from all of the responses and I can pinpoint who was able to get the correct answer or who needs more help. And I believe this feature is really important for teachers who would want to get responses from their students very immediately. And then similarly, in simplifying the given expression of 8h plus 4g times the quantity of 2h minus 3 minus 6h plus g. I'm sorry, I'm talking alien to some. But
Not to me, not to me.
but since this is our topic in line with my grade 7, in line with algebra, so what I do is that I ask some of I can see already, just like here, once again, we have 4h plus g minus 3. It's unfinished. So maybe I can gauge already if some of my students didn't get it yet. And then I can also ask some of their classmates to explain, especially those who were able to get it. So this is also a good way to engage a student and another student supporting or helping their classmates. So all of these simple things that I've been doing in class, but I believe these things are very helpful for me in promoting and supporting student engagement. And for me, supporting and promoting student engagement is one of the most vital things um, that we can do at the moment, especially with the challenges of pandemic, remote learning, or even on-site learning. Because if we are able to have our students have fun and enjoy the lessons and our discussions through the different applications that we do, especially with the use of Rolljak in the classroom, then most probably we'll be able to help our students work better and do better and perform better in the future, or even um, at the moment while we are teaching. So that's my sharing for our audience for today, Adi.
Hey, Alvin, thanks. Wow, that is so insightful. And I must say, like, it really is gamification in classrooms is really about as creative as you can be as a teacher, right? How do you subvert your tools to support what you want to achieve in your lesson outcomes? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, no, I think what you shared is really cool because I think gamification became very big when we started having a lot of these real-time classroom engagement tools coming out for running quizzing and polling. Um, but they don't unlock gamification in those different aspects of introducing more engagement, more feedback for teachers, and more visuals, right? So like you can visually see what's going on, right? So that's really cool to see in action. And thanks for sharing the poll as well.
yeah,
It's really cool to see that we are popular amongst your students. That's delightful. Like I would say
yes.
that's really delightful.
Actually, whenever my students see when I say the link is already posted in the chat box, and then when I share QR code, they really shout "Roll Jack." It's really they really love it already, and there's no I think I cannot find any reason why my students will not love Rolljak, especially the different things that we do in class and with all the different features that we could get with Rolljak in
Mm.
um, really supporting gamification and promoting engagement in the classroom.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's I mean that's what we're here to talk about, like how we can increase engagement, have more impactful lessons using gamification, right? And how do you use gamification in this day and age when everyone is so tired of just running quizzes over quizzes, right? and how do you actually use that to support your lesson activities, right? Instead of just doing it for testing knowledge. So yeah, that was very insightful. Thank you. I think it's so creative that the way you have actually used Rolljak. And to be honest, like that's what we love to do. We love to learn from users, like how they are employing what we've built, because of course, like it's open to everyone's interpretation because it's open-ended, right? So it's when it's open-ended, you can use it however you would want. Yeah, but Alvin, thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate your time. What we're gonna do next in the last 15 minutes, and Alvin, I hope you can stay for it. We're just gonna, so I'm gonna do a quick screen share and run through a few activities that I think would be quite I would say like eye-opening for people who have not used Rolljak before, and maybe spark some creativity in our fellow educators, right? So I just want to share my screen with you. So this is what the interface looks like, and we have a lot of like activities over, oh sorry, sessions over here, and we have folders that we've created. We have recommended templates. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a quick session, and I'm going to title it Rolljak webinar. Oh, I forgot to ask, as everyone does. Can you see my screen? Yeah, okay. I think we can see it on the live stream. Cool. Here's what I want to do. So I just want to create maybe a few activities just to um just to excuse me, just to walk through like how we can use um Rolljak to open up different dimensions of gamification in a classroom, yet maintain its relevance to your lesson outcomes or your lesson in general, right? So, for example, for the first one, I'm going to run a quick open-ended activity. And I was thinking of what to run for this, right? Because I didn't want it to become so subject dependent. So I thought I'll just run something about current affairs. So I'm just going to type something about how we deter countries from actually going to war. What are some of the ways we deter countries um, from invading neighboring countries, right? All right. So, and maybe the next part of the question is like, do you think our current measures are sufficient, right? So what I'm going to do is I will allow participants to respond as many times as they want, so they can click this plus button to do that, right? And how we do collaboration in Rolljak is through this concept of rotational viewing, which means that everyone has to get involved in responding to the question, but beyond the response, they can collaborate anonymously by anonymously seeing someone else's response on their screen, right? This ensures that everyone stays involved in the discussion, right? And for you as an educator or as a facilitator, this is, of course, very important for classroom management. So response, collaborate, and then we will run a quick peer evaluation where I'm going to, so there's 3 different ways to run peer evaluation. I'm going to use the scales, and what I'm going to choose is um, how much we agree with it, right? And how accurate it is. So, and I'm going to make it a 10-point scale. Yep. And I'm going to let everyone evaluate 3 different responses. So that's my first activity. And now my second activity is a sketch-based one, right? So this one is uh, a little more fun. So you are an aspiring entrepreneur, right? So if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, you have to create a 4-part storyboard to describe your entrepreneurial effort. Like, what is it that you're going to create if you have an entrepreneurial effort, right? So how we're going to do it is we will have 4 responses per person, right? And we will go directly into an investment. So we'll be able to invest in other people's ideas, right? Other people's entrepreneurial efforts or endeavors. So what we're going to do is in peer evaluation, you can actually evaluate people's ideas or responses individually or collectively. So we'll do it collectively. So it comes as a grid. So everyone will have a grid of four sketches that they will evaluate, right? And I think that's good enough. And I don't think we have that much time. So let's just run two activities. And I think that's good enough. We'll just run it in individual mode. We don't need to go into teams. But the way teams work on Rolljak is by splitting people up into like if you're on Zoom and you want to run a breakout session, right? So you just split people up into subgroups and you can control all of them centrally. So I want whoever is here with us on the live chat to follow along with us, please, and participate. Strange. Let me just refresh. And let's go live. Okay. All right. So let me share this link with you, Alwyn, and with our live stream audience as well. For some reason, I can't paste it. So could someone help me from our team, or maybe Alwyn, if you have Zoom open, or sorry, the live stream open, if you can paste it in the chat. Oh, I see. Need to switch my account.
I posted it already, Sir Adi.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Alwyn. And of course, there's a QR code. Let me just pull up the QR code. So if anyone here wants to just scan the QR code to join, please do that as well. That's no problem. All right, so once you're in, you'll be asked to draw yourself. So go ahead and draw the best version of yourself you can on this Thursday afternoon. Okay, I think we have 9 people in the session already. That's good. Okay, so last call for someone who wants to join us. I've dropped a link in the chat if anyone wants to join with us. All right, here we go. So I saw, I mean, you saw the 2 activities I created. So the first one is a simple general discussion about what's happening in the world, right? So what are some of the ways we deter countries from invading neighboring countries? And do you think those current measures are sufficient? And what can we do better, right? So you can have multiple responses, and I'll add a little more time for you. So I got pretty engrossed in my response, which is why I was silent. All right. So I think we got half the responses. I haven't submitted. Let me do that. All right. So now we're going to anonymously see someone else's response on our screen, and we will be able to collaborate to make it better. So you can go ahead and add on to what you see on your screens in front of you. All right, last 20 seconds, so go ahead and submit if you have not already. All right. So I just realized that everyone watching the live stream is actually going about 30 seconds slower. So as in the live stream is going slower. So the screen may lag compared to what you're seeing on your phone screen or whichever device you've used to join. So what we're doing now is we're just evaluating people, and you can click the bouncing thing that says tap to view response or tap to evaluate, and you can evaluate like how accurate and how much you agree with it. So what's going to happen now is you're going to see on my screen lessening greed, greater diplomacy. We have sanctions, but they're not enough to deter. Yeah, so basically we are getting everybody's responses. So I just want to mention to people who are here with us, feel free to drop your answers or question that you have regarding gamification and how you can gamify things better in the chat, right? Because we would love to talk about those more than showing you how to gamify it with Rolljak. Really, because with Rolljak we are able to gamify lessons in remote and hybrid environments. So we have Sodium NA in the lead. Okay, so now this time you are an aspiring entrepreneur and you are asked to create a 4-part storyboard describing your entrepreneurial effort. All right, so last 30 seconds to get this submitted. All right, so time to look at what people drew. Some of these are pretty funny. So there's a question in the chat. Do we need computer for Rolljak? You don't. So that's a really good question because we've actually stopped. We used to only restrict being able to build. So actually, let me shut this off because these are really cool. Okay, I got two questions I need to answer in the chat, but after just a quick look of what this is. So we have we have some circles there. This is a nice drawing. This is about what you want broccoli, but the cost and the revenue. And see, this a lot of interesting ideas we see over here. Yeah, this is mine. Yeah, most of us did not have much time to think about like our entrepreneurial endeavors, but I want to answer the questions which are in the chat. So starting with the first one, which talks about, do we need computers for using Rolljak? So the answer is no, because previously you had to have a computer to create lessons or sessions, create activities, but in order to join it, you could join it on your phone. However, now we've recently launched a mobile-friendly version of our app. So you can actually head over to app.rolljak.com, sign up for an account, and what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to create your activities right there and then in real time. So you don't need a computer for Rolljak, but you will need a computer to run it live. Really because that so we restrict running it live from your phone really because that experience is best on a bigger screen. Right. So the next question is from Michael. It's about, can we extend the timing like 5 minutes or longer? Yes, you can extend the timing. So once the timing is so when you set up the activity, the max timing you can have is 6 minutes, but beyond that, you'll be able to run it. You'll be able to add more time on the fly, right? So you can add it as you go along. Can the students download what they have drawn to PPT or PDF? So the students can't download it, but you can. So that would be the best way to disseminate it. So we have a lot of features that we are building, and we are releasing new features on a weekly basis. So this is just a matter of time that we'll be able to allow students to have access to what they've done and download them. And can diagrams be edited once drawn? So can the diagrams be edited once drawn? Once they are submitted, no. Once you submit, you can still edit your submission, but when it's submitted and the lesson is or the activity is ended, those diagrams are not editable. Yeah. The next question is from 0903 Sunshine. How do we control students' inappropriate sketch? Yeah, that's a very good question. So you can control profanity on on text-based responses. But for sketch-based responses, what we are soon releasing is you'll be able to discard responses or reject them if they are inappropriate. So I understand that's a big concern when it comes to classroom management, and we are soon releasing something for that. Next question again for Michael. Are there templates for students to download to draw like star, fruit, stick, people, car? Yeah, good question. So currently we only have templates for like shapes, right? What you can do is you can upload a background and make them draw on that background. That makes it a lot easier to actually draw for a certain purpose, right? So if you are trying to draw, say, a diagram, or you are trying to draw certain things on a certain background, like say a background of a car or a classroom, right? So you're trying to draw something within that. Um, that would be the easiest way to do it. So drawing complex shapes, not yet on the sketchpad. Yeah, just simple shapes. Yeah. So and the last one is okay. So now we have two. We have another one. Can we modify the number of sketchpads? You can modify the number of sketchpads. You can actually set it up to be fixed per person. So like what we did for the storyboarding, we did four people per person, four sketchpads per person, excuse me. What you could do is you could do something like that, or you could do it in a way that is slightly different, where you let participants choose how many they want to come up with, right? So that would be the best way to do that. And as for open-ended questions, can you auto mark? Yeah, so we have the auto scoring quiz, which is a separate activity altogether that allows you to actually grade open-ended responses in real time. What you need to do is key in the right answer, like your model answer, right? And what it does is in real time, it grades all of the responses that are coming in terms of how close or how accurate they are to the response that you have given, right? So it takes your response and it evaluates every single response that has been submitted by participants, and it churns out an accuracy score based on how close it is in terms of vocabulary and intention. So, which makes it a great way to ask structure-based questions where you're looking for certain keywords, and that way you can actually um, make sure that based on those keywords you are giving uh, a better score to the responses which include those keywords. All right. Thanks. So those were a nice series of questions. I appreciate all the questions. So it is 10 past 5, so we are a little late. So I really appreciate your time for today's first ever webinar with our team, with Rolljak. Uh, okay, we have another question which I am going to answer. What's the difference between the free versus paid features? Right now, the difference is mainly in terms of the number of participants or students you can host in real time. Um, or in the free tier, you can have up to 20 people at concurrently. In the paid tier, you can have 50, 200, and 2000. It depends on which tier you are on. So we are actually looking to shuffle that around a little bit and open up uh, more concurrent participants for free users, so that more users can use it for free in their classrooms. We really want that to happen. So we really want people to be using Rolljak more and trying to use our way of doing gamification in classrooms, right? And really introducing a new dimension of audience engagement or classroom engagement. So look out for that, but that's what it is right now. Yeah. So last call for questions. If not, we will wrap up, and I will take my leave, and we will see you very soon for our upcoming webinar next month. And we are trying to make this a habit so we can have more interaction with all of you. So again, thanks for joining us, and hope you learned something useful about how we can improve gamification in classrooms, make it more impactful, more engaging, and using Rolljak to introduce new dimensions of audience engagement, which is like peer-to-peer learning, collaboration, and more teamwork. Awesome. Thanks so much for being here with us. And this is it for today. So thank you, and I will see you very soon.